Hello, this is Wednesday's Hot Topic here on Morning Kicker, and I'm Robert. In the middle is Jason. On the far side, Jonathan Tannenwald coming in from Philadelphia. Bit of a check-in here ahead of the Union's quarterfinal Open Cup matchup against New York Red Bulls. Perception going into the season, bleak. Union fans, definitely the fans of Philadelphia on this channel had low expectations with the dismissal of Jim Curtin and some key players, but 2025 has been pretty good. Welcome on in, Jonathan Tannenwald. Let's talk some Philadelphia.
Thank you. I picked a great time to show up. Wow.
Why? What do you mean? The
Right in off a pro-rel discussion? I mean,
the pro-rel discussion. I thought you know about what Comcast just dropped into my inbox,
Jonathan. No, I know about that too. I have some things to say about that once I get off here. I've been
okay. All right.
Well, about whether that deal is actually as good as it claims to be.
All right. Well, that's why I have you around. That's why we need you. We will talk about that. For Xfinity customers, something just dropped about soccer packages and TV and things. But okay, Jonathan Tannenwald is here to largely talk about the Union, and I do think we can maybe branch out from that into some other topics if we have the time. But Jonathan, as Rob just said, quarterfinal U.S. Open Cup for the Philadelphia Union. In a season that began with some big questions, but has turned into a pretty successful one, and there are still work to be done. But this is a team that now can think about a supporter shield. And obviously, if you're thinking about a supporter shield, you think of yourself as an MLS Cup contender.
Yep.
How important is the U.S. Open Cup against a Red Bulls team that's been up and down, but can certainly step up on their day?
It's important to them. I've been speaking with Alejandro Bedoya, and it's very important to him because he wants to win a trophy before he retires. And I think that he sees this, as do a lot of people, as the easiest shot they have in terms of what it's going to take. It's also winning a final if they do it, which this team has never done before. It has won a Supporters' Shield before, but it has never won a final. It has lost 3 Open Cup finals and an MLS Cup final. So they would like to have the experience of winning a final. And this is how they're going to get there, I think. There are a lot of there. It is in the nature of a lot of people in this town to assume that everything is going to come crashing down tomorrow. They're coming off a really bad tie at home against Toronto, where they only put 12 shots on a backup goalkeeper who wasn't very good. And they, everybody assumes this is going to fall apart at some point, and that Cincinnati, with all its money, is going to go win everything. But that hasn't happened yet. So
we'll see tonight. Now, again, I mean, the idea that Philadelphia can fight on all these fronts kind of cuts against, again, sort of the budget things that come with Philadelphia. And yet I think that one of the narratives, obviously, Jonathan, at the start of the season was Jim Curtin was dismissed because he wasn't going to follow Ernst Tanner's plan. Ernst Tanner does not shy away from thinking his plan is the best plan, and it seems like he's being validated right now. Obviously, give Bradley Carnell a lot of credit, Jonathan, but how much of Ernst Tanner's plan is being proven correct here, and is this something that will stand the test of time as the Union work to develop the talent that they have traditionally, but also manage to compete in the league?
Look, the Union have quantity of players at this point. They have depth. Do they have depth of quality? That remains to be seen, because they only have one ball-controlling midfielder who plays on a regular basis, and that's Cavan Sullivan. Cavan is not old and developed enough yet to be getting starters minutes on a regular basis. He is on the way there. All of the Man City fans in the chat are going to call me a lunatic, and I'm going to say that he has the skills to play, but that doesn't mean he is ready to play today for 90 minutes every day. He is not yet. Having said all that, the biggest justification for changing manager and having had the success that they've had this year is that Jim Curtin notoriously disliked using all 5 of his substitutions every game. Bradley Carnell uses all 5 of his substitutions almost every game. And I think that might be the biggest reasons why these guys haven't all popped their hamstrings yet. Even though Mikel Ura and Ty Baribo both had overuse injuries in June, and that was a warning shot. Counter-pressing teams don't win trophies in this league in the long term because they run out of gas. And everybody's wondering if the Union are going to do the same thing.
I've got a bit of a two-part question for you. You're saying that the quality of depth is to be tested. So tonight's Open Cup Wednesday, there's an MLS matchup at the weekend. Will we be seeing a strong lineup tonight with an MLS game at the weekend? And there's been a lot of like clips and posting of Cavan Sullivan with Man City. Are people getting over their skis with the hype on him, or is wait and see?
I'll take the questions in order, even though I really want to take the second question first. There's going to be, they're going to go with a first choice lineup tonight for as much a reason as any is that Jacob Glesnes is suspended on Saturday due to yellow card accumulation. So he's going to play tonight. And that is an indication of a first choice lineup as these things go. Who's going to start it forward? I have no idea. I could see Milan Iloski starting tonight. I could see Mikolera starting tonight. I could see any number of the forwards starting tonight. Now, about the Cavan Sullivan hype clips. So, one of the people who has on Twitter on a very, very regular basis spoken about Cavan Sullivan's time in Manchester a lot was not quite telling the entire truth.
Oh.
I don't know if that's allowed to be said of somebody with 90 million Twitter followers who really don't want to come after me. You can't portray that he was, you could have inferred from the way he put it that Cavan Sullivan was training with the first team. That wasn't true at all. He was training with either the under-21s or the under-23s, I forget which. So he was running around with players much closer to his age and physical development than older people. He can play. I think he might play tonight. I am wary of him playing in certain games where I know he's going to get kicked up the Delaware River because I don't want that to happen to him yet.
Mm-hmm.
But, next year it's going to have to happen, and I think it will, but I don't think he's ready right now, today, to do everything for the Union yet.
I'm really interested in the psychology of a player who's kind of promised a position in a couple of years in a way, or not necessarily promised a position, but has like such a lingering effect that the gap between 16 and 18 is obviously a problematic area in the American soccer development. But someone who's already someone's called dibs on him already, and it's at such a high level. Is that just a weight of expectation on him? How does this psychologically affect a player like that?
He's pretty cocky. So I'm not really worried about that. He's also got a very good family that keeps him in line, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm a little more worried about whether what Man City did is actually legal.
Yeah.
But that might be for another day.
What, the purchase of him or the recent, bringing him back for camp's illegal part?
Both, but the purchase, certainly. He can, by British work rules, he can go over there for 2 weeks and run around with their under-21 team or whatever. So he can do that. But Man City, including when they were here in Philadelphia for the Club World Cup earlier in the summer, they can't say his name aloud. And the Union can't say why he is signed to a contract that is guaranteed through 2028. They can only say that he will leave the team after 2027, but they can't say where he's going. He can say it, his family can say it, his agent can say it, I can say it, but the teams cannot.
Yeah, this is it is a weird area. I think that if you don't look too deeply into it from an American soccer perspective, it's just like, oh wow, we've got a teenage player signed, provisionally or in the future by a club like Manchester City, and yet I think a more cynical view, whatever you think about Cavan Sullivan and his talent, Jonathan, is this is a very rich club just hoovering up talent from around the world in any way that they can, because that's the business now, right? It's not really about Cavan Sullivan showing up and playing at the Etihad for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola one day, even though they might want that on some level. It's just, hey, we've got one of the top American talents, so we can flip him if we want to. And obviously with PSR and everything else, these are all considerations.
Jason, I save my cynicism for one of your other shows.
Okay, all right, that's
Um,
fine. That,
I will say, though, to something Robert said a minute ago about his age, when you talk about the development of 16 to 18-year-old soccer players and the difference between 15 and 16-year-old soccer players, we can talk about the difference between 15 and 16-year-old humans and the development of 16 to 18-year-old humans in other non-athletic areas of life. There are emo, moody kids who go through stuff in high school at that age.
yeah, no, well, no, really, yeah. Wow, I'm surprised to hear you. That's yeah,
So
that's
there's a lot in this. And the union, this is the biggest reason why I felt it so important that he had to sign for the union instead of going straight to Europe. And why I think, even though I'm not a union fan, even though I complain all the time that they need to sign match-winning talent and actually win trophies for a team in a very large media market in the United States that would bring MLS a lot of money if it was winning trophies. The reason why you sign for the union if you're in their academy instead of bolting to Europe, it is better for your personal development to work with coaches and teachers who actually care about developing you at the age you're at.
right. Yeah.
Instead of chucking you in the deep end with 30 other kids from who knows where in the world, and City or Chelsea, which are the two teams that I think are the most guilty of this, don't actually care about you
No.
in that way.
I mean, that's the thing. It's but then of course there's an argument, and you sometimes hear players talk about this. Oh, I didn't know what competition was until I went to Europe, and I was in training with 30 other kids, some from Spain and some from Argentina and some from wherever, and it pushed me. Right, Hercules Gomez talks about this. Like if he had had an opportunity to go to Europe as a young player, he would have been a much better player because he would have been in that environment to be pushed to that level. I think that forgets that thing you're talking about, which is the human adjustment to life abroad or life in that environment and how you respond to it. But I also think that you do kind of just need to find out about players sometimes, Jonathan. Like they have to be dropped in the deep end because they can't always be protected. As American soccer fans,
there's a big difference between doing that at 15 and doing it at 18.
that is a fair statement. That is a fair statement.
In terms of dropping people in the whatever is in the pool, I don't know what the material is in the what we call it. Ask Matt Miazga how that went. Mm-hmm. Ask Zach Steffen how that went.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They are cautionary tales that I don't think a lot of people even care about or know about.
No, we forget the ones that didn't quote unquote make it, and we remember the ones that I guess did. Again, this remains the biggest mark against Landon Donovan in his career that he couldn't.
We can ask Caleb Wiley too. It's not just about the going to Europe. It's about which club you go to. I have mentioned a bunch of players here who have gone to City and Chelsea specifically.
Yeah.
Because this is what those two clubs do. Riverside Grove says at 18 it's often too late. He can't move to Europe. He cannot move to England full time because of British labor laws. If you'd like to go change the British labor laws so that you can hoover up a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds for your club, you can go do that. But he cannot.
So that you're saying that's the British labor laws at play there and not FIFA Rule 19 that's at play?
As far as I know, he cannot. It may also be some. It may also be some amount of FIFA. He could go to Europe if he had a European passport. He could go into the European Union.
Yeah.
Which Britain is not part of. I don't know.
Right. The UK is not part of the European Union. I forgot about that. Brexit was a thing.
I don't know what Riverside Grove's opinion is of that, but you cannot labor in the European Union, in the United Kingdom, coming in from another country if you're under the age of 18.
Yeah,
in the EU.
This is a bigger question than maybe the scope of our conversation here, and we were keeping it union focused with Jonathan, who knows that club and covers that club. But this is why probably the future of American soccer is tied to better academies and more academies and dotting the map, as I was talking about earlier on the show, than it is about sending all of our kids to elite European clubs.
And Riverside Grove now says again, Gio and Pulisic were able to do it. Yes, at Dortmund, there's a big difference there.
Dortmund and Chelsea, yeah, how much they care and invest in their youth is night and day.
Gio and Pulisic did it because Dortmund actually cared about developing them properly, as they do with Cole Campbell, as they do with Mathis Albert. There's an enormous difference in terms of which club you go to, and I keep singling out Chelsea and City for that reason. And I know a lot of people in England and across Europe who do too.
All right. I mean, again, Union in the Open Cup quarterfinal against the Red Bulls tonight, looking to win that trophy atop the table in Major League Soccer on 51 points. Again, I think to the surprise of some people. One more question I wanted to throw at you on Union topics, Jonathan, is the signing of Milan Ilovsky, who left San Diego after his loan ended and then pops right back up in MLS. I've seen it alleged, and this is obviously just speculation on the part of maybe a bitter fan, that Ernst Tanner was playing a long game with all of this. How did they manage to score the signing of Ilovsky, who was, in terms of goals per minute, was best in MLS when he was in San Diego?
Oh, it's not alleged. It is. Everybody involved knew what was going on here, including San Diego and the Union.
Okay. What did go on, Jonathan? Lay it out for us.
Let me preface this by saying I should never have to write a 1,000-word piece about a player signing.
Yeah, MLS though.
The way that this went into the weeds drove me and lots of other people I know up the wall. So Ilovsky and San Diego could not come to terms on salary involved on a loan extension. His loan from Nordsjælland, which is owned by the same people who own San Diego, by the way, was only for 4 months. They could not come to terms on a loan extension in terms of salary and whatnot. And San Diego, knowing the waiver rules and various other things, wanted to do him a solid by getting him out of his contract so that he could negotiate with another team in MLS and get a higher wage in some form. Now, San Diego did not value him as much as some other teams did because they thought his scoring was condensed into too few games for their liking, and they weren't sure he was going to be a consistent scorer. So he goes back to Nordsjælland. He can't come back into the league except through waivers. So San Diego puts him on. San Diego, instead of letting his loan expire, cancels the loan in some form a day before it was supposed to end, which, from what I was told, was supposed to make it easier for him to negotiate a new contract coming back into the league because of what the waiver rules are in MLS and what contract you get stuck with, whether it was your previous one when you come back into the league, and various other things that can I say bullshit on the show or not? I guess.
I've already said it once. You can say it again.
It's all bullshit. Everybody I know believes it's bullshit. What it comes down to is, if the loan had expired, as happened with anywhere else in the world, your loan expires, you go back to the parent club, they tear up the contract, and you're a complete free agent anywhere in the world except MLS.
Right.
You have to come back in through waivers to come back into MLS. Philadelphia wanted him, so had to buy Montreal's place in the waiver order off them, which they did. And pay it for a few $100,000 and pay $1 million transfer fee to Nordsjælland for the player, who they now have.
Okay,
it's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb. But hey, we got some clarity, I guess. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
So I should never have to write a 1,000-word piece on a player signing.
No. Yeah.
So, Jonathan reporting on all things Philadelphia Union here on Morning Kicker. On tonight, they take on the New York Red Bulls in the Open Cup quarterfinal with an opportunity to take on Nashville in the semis. Open Cup final, October 1st. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us here on Morning Kicker. Where can the viewers check out your work?
In many places, but I guess Blue Sky is the best of them.
There you go. Look at that. Follow Jonathan on Blue Sky. And just
Tannenwald.bsky.social.
Subscribe to the starter pack for American soccer, and you'll get Jonathan, you'll get me, and then you'll be done. And then, there's other people that matter, but at least you'll get us. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Don.
Always a pleasure, fellas.
Really good stuff.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for everyone for tuning in. Before we get out of here, it sounds like a a celebration is needed for a viewer coming late to the show. Second grandchild born last night. So congratulations to Chris C. Mazel on the new addition to the family. Thank you to Jonathan for joining us. Thank you, Jenny, for producing behind the scenes for us. And be sure to check out all the videos that we have stored up on Morning Kicker. And we touched on Sean Mann. If you want to go in depth with the DCFC acquisition of the land and the furthering of the plans for the stadium in Detroit, go into the archives on Morning Kicker and find that interview with Sean Mann. And then plenty of other guest opportunities or guest spots. You know, we talked to AV Alta in California. We've talked to Westchester in New York. Lots of different districts covered on this show. And then if you are a subscriber or a channel member, you help us, get to those untold or lesser known stories along the way. And speaking of which, lesser known stories, check out the show notes, the GoFundMe for MK Torrent in Milwaukee. They got flood damage, and we talked about their travails a little bit earlier in the show. So check out the show notes for the GoFundMe for MK Torrent. Anything before we go from you, Mr. Davis?
No, thanks to John, and check out everything that we've got going on and support Milwaukee Torrent, and send us your thoughts on what other stories in American soccer we should be covering. We'll put Temecula FC on the list. I think we're going to try to talk about this San Francisco City situation. There's other stories out there we don't know about, and if you don't tell us, we can't cover them.
Oh, yeah. Coming up on Friday, I think we're going to talk to the commissioner of Midwest Premier League. They've got, before the season, they linked up. They've got a partnership with the League for Clubs. And those sort of thoughts make me think about when we talk about League One, and a lot of people talk about the regionalization of the pyramid, maybe those sort of relationships kind of bear that localization too.
You know what we should be doing? We should be doing a ranking, a bonus video ranking of badges for clubs in like the Midwest Premier League. I thought about doing one for NPSL after we talked about Hickory FC winning their title, things like that. So we should maybe we'll take a look and do some badge rankings.
All those sound very exciting. I can't wait for Friday to come. Won't you join us? But next time, until then, enjoy your soccer.